Alright guys, for this paper, we'll be working on the specimen paper, paper 3 for 2020. Okay, now this paper is not particularly challenging, but but the way it phrases the questions and all that is quite different compared to the other years, I would say. Okay, so let's have a look at the data analysis portion, and this video will just cover the data analysis portion of it, right? So it says open and examine the files ttstaff.csv and ttsbranches.csv in a spreadsheet application. So I'm just going to open those two files. Ooh, where did I put them? Okay, so branches as well as the staff. Okay, now here's where it becomes interesting. Okay, it then requires you to save both files as a spreadsheet with the name TTS analysis underscore followed by your center number and candidate number, as well as the TTS staff.csv as a spreadsheet as well. So usually in other papers, they will ask you to only save one CSV file as a spreadsheet, but in this one, they ask you to save two. Okay, so I'm going to do the staff one first. Okay, sorry, the branches one first then. So I need to save this as TTS analysis followed by the center number followed by the candidate number, and I need to save it as an Excel workbook. Okay, then I need to go to the TTS staff CSV file and do the same thing, but this one I need to save it as TTS sales center number and candidate number. Okay, so I need to save it as an Excel workbook. Okay, so now both files are done already. Okay, so let's look at the next question. In your TTS analysis spreadsheet, place your name, center number, and candidate number center aligned in the footer of the page. So TTS analysis. Okay, so place your name, center number, and candidate number center aligned. So I'm going to go to insert, right? I'm going to go to headers and footers. Name, center number, and candidate number. Okay, so in order for me to work on this, easier, I'm just going to switch it back to normal view so I don't have to contend with the additional pages that it displayed. Okay, so in cell, next question, in cell C1 add the text branch sales. So here, branch sales, nothing weird here. Insert a new row above row 1. So I'm going to right click on the row header here. I'm going to insert. And then merge the cells A1 to C1. So A1 to C1, I got to merge it. And then in the merge cell, add the text TTS sales 2019. TTS sales 2019. Okay, so format the merge cell so that the text is centered aligned with a red 24-point serif font. It has a green field, it has a solid black border. Okay, nothing difficult here as well. So text is center aligned, red, so it has to be red, 24 points, serif font, so I need to change this to Times New Roman. Okay, make sure the data can be seen. It has a solid black border. Alright, so I'm just going to put in a thick outside border so that, oh, and it has a green field as well, so oh well, whatever. Okay, so wrapped, then after that we move on to the next question. Wrap the text in cell A2 and C2. So A2 and C2, I need to wrap the text and make sure that they flow to the next line. Okay, so basically this is what it wants. Format the cells A2 to C2 as bold and centered horizontally and vertically. So now it's A2 to C2, bold, I think, right? Centered, aligned horizontally and vertically. So middle aligned here and center aligned here. So it's centered horizontally and vertically as well. Okay, I'm going to save that, scale it a little bit so it looks good. Color is quite crappy though. Anyway, adjust the cell width so that all data is visible. Alright, done that. Okay, save the TTS analysis spreadsheet. All right, done. So let's move on to the next question. In your TTS sales spreadsheet, so I need to open the other one, this one. Okay, I'm going to resize everything so that the data can be seen. Switch back. Place your name, center number, and candidate number center aligned in the header of the page. So same thing. Insert header and footer, center aligned in the header of the page, right? Alright, we're going to switch back to normal view so it's easier for me. In cell E1, enter the text branch. E1, branch. In cell E2, enter a function to use the branch code to look up the branch from the TTS analysis file. So it wants you to find the name of the branch here by using the branch code here, by also referring to your TTS analysis here. So obviously AI stands for Elmer. Okay, I'm butchering it. Amsterdam. Okay, that I know how to pronounce. Okay, so you need to use a VLOOKUP function, right? Okay, so equals to VLOOKUP. What is the lookup value? Now I'm using AI, the branch code here, AL I think, to find out the name of the branch. Put in a comma. Table array means from which table are you getting the branch's name from. So I'm getting it from this table, from another file. So I highlight the content of the entire table. I can do this, I can do this, it doesn't matter. Okay, comma. Now, if the branch code or the lookup value here matches the branch code, from which column of the table would you like to extract the data from? Is it from the first column or second column? Now, if you look at the second column actually contains the branch's names, right? Obviously, I need the data from the second column. So I put 2, and then I say I want an exact match, and I select false. So that's there, and I apply it across all the other fields. Okay, done. So replicate this formula. I've just done that. Save the TTS sales spreadsheet. Okay. Whoops. Save. Okay, moving on. Print only the data for Elmer and Amsterdam branches showing the formula. So I only have to print out the branches Elmer and Amsterdam. Okay, hold on, let me close this. Okay, so in order for me to only print that, okay, I would use a selection. So I'm just going to select this, okay, and then I'm going to formula, right? It says showing the formula, and I will say show formula. Okay, now I need to make sure that all the data can be seen. So I go to the corner here, select everything, and I double click on the column separators to make sure that the data can be seen. So again, only AL and AM. So here, all the way here. Right, so I'm just going to print, and then when I print here, instead of selecting print active sheets, I am actually selecting print selection. So that only prints what I have selected. Right, so it is in landscape orientation. I'm going to change this to landscape. Nice. The row and column headings are displayed. So I go to page setup, go to sheet, and I select row and column headings. Bam. Okay, and the content of all the cells are fully visible. So this is important. Make sure that your formula can be fully shown, or else you're going to lose marks. Okay, so once you're done, you just print it. I'm just going to save it in the folder that I'm working on right now, and I'm just going to call it printout 1. All right, so your printout, if you are curious, should look like this, which contains your name, center number, and candidate number in the header. Okay, all good. So let's move on to the next question. Keeping the data in ascending order of branch, sort the TTS sales data so that the sales for the member of staff in the branch are in descending order. Okay, so what it wants you to do is you need to switch off the formula right now, because the next question would say showing the values only. So I'm just going to hide the formula. go to the corner here to select everything, select all, or Control A, double click on the column separators to make sure that the data can be fully shown. Now, it wants you to sort the data. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight all the information here to make sure that everything is selected, and I'm going to go to sort and filter and click filter. Okay, now it needs you to keep the sorting order or the ascending order of the branch. Okay, so this question is actually hinting at a multi-level sort. So it wants you to sort by branch first, and then within the branch, sort by the sales data in descending order. Okay, so how you do this is you need to select all the data here. This is where the tricky question comes in. Okay, you go to sort and filter, you go to custom sort. Now we know that they want the branch to be sorted in ascending order, right? So I select branch and I make sure that the order is A to Z. Then I select another level and then I sort it by sales in largest to smallest, so in descending order, right? So notice that the branches will be sorted first, and within the branches the sales will be in descending order. Okay, so save the TTS sales spreadsheet. Okay, I'm going to save that again, and then print the data for the Naples and Porto branches showing the values, right? So branches, I'm just going to print these two branches. Okay, it is in portrait orientation. The row and column headings are not displayed. The content of all cells are fully visible. So I'm going to print that. And I need to change this to active sheets. Okay, they do not want the row and column headings, unfortunately, so I'm going to take that away as well. It is in portrait orientation, so this needs to be in portrait. Okay, so print this as Printout 2. So again, if you are curious, it should look like this. I really need to know how to pronounce this anyway. All right, so in your TTS analysis spreadsheet, so I need to open the next spreadsheet, this one. Sort the data so that the branches are in ascending order. Okay, so I need to sort the data so that the branches are in ascending order. All right, filter, branches, sort A to Z, bam. In cell C3 to C12, enter functions to calculate the total sales for each branch. So I have the branch code here, and when I move on to the previous spreadsheet here, you will notice that the sales is also displayed here. Okay, now the function to use is the SUMIF function. Okay, but before I can use the SUMIF function, I need to make sure that all the data is displayed, because right now what is displayed is only Naples and Porto. Okay, so I need to clear the filter first to make sure all the data can be seen. Okay, and then I'm going to use the SUMIF function because I am going to total up the sales here, right, if the branch code here matches the branch code here. Now, if you look at the marking scheme, they actually just use a sum function. I don't think that's efficient. I think using a SUMIF function is better. Okay, right. So, and it's good as well that you guys use the SUMIF function, because you will be tested on that for your trials or the actual exam anyway. All right. So SUMIF is going to ask you for 3 different arguments. So what is the range? The range is basically the branch code, because the branch code actually influences the sales, right? So I'm going to select all the data here. Now I don't need to lock it or use absolute cell referencing, because I'm referring to another file. So if I'm referring to another file, absolute cell referencing will already be enabled. How do I know that? Because if I zoom in, I will see the $ here already. Okay, put in a comma, then it's going to ask you for the criteria. So the criteria is what should be matched with the branch code here, so that we know which sales to total up. So obviously it's the branch code in the first file, comma. So if the range match the criteria, what do you want to add? Well, obviously I want to add the sales, right? So again, I don't need to lock it or use absolute cell referencing because I'm selecting it from another file. Okay, there you go. Boom. Done. Oops. Okay. Now, print the spreadsheet showing the formula. Make sure it is in landscape orientation. Row and column headings are displayed. The content of all cells are fully visible. Well, this paper is tedious. Okay, so I need to show the formula. So formula, show formula to make sure everything can be seen. Okay, that's a fatal mistake if you just print this out. Okay, you're going to lose marks here because your sum if function cannot be fully seen, right? So I need to print that and make sure that it is in landscape orientation. Right, row and column headings are displayed. Row and column headings again, and then the content of all cells are fully visible. Now, because the question didn't say that everything needs to fit into one page, I don't need to do that. Okay, if it wants to, I can just switch this to fit sheet on one page, and the formula can be fitted on one page as well. Now, in this situation, you can do this because the amount of data isn't that much, and if you fit everything on one page, it is still legible. Okay, which means that the examiner can still mark whatever you are doing here. So all good. I'm gonna print that yet. Okay, I'm gonna print that as printout 3. Boom. So it should look like this. Okay, then we're gonna move on to the next question. My goodness. Okay, print the spreadsheet showing the values. Make sure that okay, so now it wants the spreadsheet showing the values only. So I'm going to go to formulas, uncheck the formula, scale it so that everything looks great. Okay, let's have a look at the question again. It is in portrait orientation. Row and column headings are not displayed. The contents of all cells are fully visible. The table is centered horizontally on the page. Okay, interesting. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go to print. It is in portrait orientation. Okay, switch that to portrait. No row and column headings. The content of all cells are fully visible. And then it needs to be centered horizontally on the page, right? So I go to the page setup. Okay, under margin here, it says centered horizontally, and click. Okay, so the table is centered horizontally. This is a new question that has never been asked before, I think. That's the trick there again. So if you don't know how to do this, you're going to lose 1 mark. Bam. Okay, so printout 4, centered horizontally, Okay, moving on. Extract only those branches with sales greater than 4 million. So I'm going to go back here with sales greater than 4 million, right? So I'm going to click here. I'm going to go to number filter and I'm going to select greater than 4 million, 4, followed by 6 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom. Okay, so print the spreadsheet showing the extracted data. Make sure it is in portrait orientation. Row and column headings are not displayed. The content of all cells are fully visible. The table is centered horizontally on the page. Okay, same thing. I'm going to print this. I'm going to look like that. Print out 5. Okay, so it should look like this. Okay, create and fully label a chart to compare the data for all of the branches. So all of the branches means I need to clear the filter because it says all the branches. And print only the chart. Okay, so make sure that you have entered your name, center number, and candidate number on the chart as well. Center and fully label a chart. Okay, so I want to compare the, you know what, I'm going to use the branch names instead of the branch code. So I'm going to select the data here, insert, and I'm going to select a column chart. So branch sales, right? So I'm going to move the chart, okay, to a new sheet. I'm going to call it chart 1 because it only wants the chart to be printed. Okay, so let's see if I print this page, would my header and footer appear? Let's have a look. Oh no, it did not. Alright, so which means that in this page, I would need to insert my header and footer as well. Okay, okay, so in my custom header, I'm going to put my name, center number, and candidate number. Boom. Okay, let's see whether that works now. Print. Fantastic. There you go. I'm going to print that out as printout number 6. Alright. So your printout should look like this with your name, center number, and candidate number at the top. Okay. So in cell B13, add the text total sales and format the text as bold. So B13 total sales and format the text as bold. In cell C13, insert a formula to calculate the total of the branch sales. So this is fairly easy, right? We're just going to use an auto sum function. There you go. Format the value as bold. Okay, bold. In cell D2, add the text target sales. D2 target sales. Right, wrap and center the text and format it as bold. So basically it wants you to follow the branch sales. Okay, so I'm just going to use the format painter to transfer the format from the branch sales to the target sales. So how you do that is you select branch sales because it contains the format. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to click on target sales. So it automatically follows the formatting of what you selected previously. Okay. Then, in cell D13, insert a formula to increase the value of the total sales by a percentage. Use trial and error to work out the smallest percentage increase necessary to reach a target sales value of 50 million. Okay, so it wants you to use a formula to calculate how much of an increase in total sales could you increase the 40 million sales here to around 50 million. Now, I've tested out the function and I've looked at the marking scheme. You can't get 50 million, how do I say this? You can't get exactly 50 million. Okay, so there will be a little bit more to the numbers you calculated. All right, so this is how you do it, right? So multiply by, let's say I multiply by an increment of 20%, like 1.2, right? So you'll notice that it's 48 million, right? It's quite close. So let's try 1.3. Oops, a bit too much. So let's try perhaps 1.25. Okay. How about 1.24? All right. So 1.255 maybe. All right, let's just settle at 1.25. I think that's pretty near already. Okay, so that's the function that you're supposed to use. C13 multiplied by 1.25. 1.25 meaning 25% increase. Okay, so I'm going to take that. I'm going to apply it to all the other cells here. It says replicate this formula for all the branches. Okay, now print the spreadsheet showing the formula again. Make sure that it is in landscape orientation. Row and column headings are displayed. The content of all cells are fully visible. Man. Okay. Showing the formula again. I'm going to scale everything again. It is in landscape orientation. Landscape. Row and column headings are displayed. Toggle this and toggle that. God damn it. Okay, there you go. And then make sure that you have entered your name, center number, and candidate number on the spreadsheet showing the formula. Bam, we're done. Printout 7. And then finally, okay, print only the data showing the values. Make sure it is in portrait orientation. The row and column headings are not displayed. The content of all cells are fully visible. Okay, so hide the formula. Print it. Make sure it is in portrait orientation. Row and column headings are not displayed, so I go back to sheet and take them away. And then I guess that's it. Print out 8. Boom. Alright guys, so we are done with the spreadsheet portion of the paper. Okay,